is one of the most famous instances of division and reunification in recent history. Since I have spent all my life embedded in a society so deeply shaped by this experience, I want to use this opportunity today to share my perspective on the challenges of reunification and what insights they offer us for the Korean context. Following World War II, the two Germanys were divided by the Berlin Wall, with the democratic FRG in the west and the socialist dictatorship of the GDR in the east. More than 100 people died trying to cross the highly soiled wall, seeking what they hope is freedom and improved living conditions. Then, finally, in a TV broadcast, a party official of the SED, Günther Schabowski, accidentally proclaims the opening of the border with immediate effect. On the 9th of November 1999, at 11:30 p.m., the wall that had divided the two Germanys through 28 years crumbles in a singular sudden shock. In the more than 30 years since the reunification, many positive developments have ensued in regard to political freedoms, infrastructure, living standards, employment, and many other areas. Consequently, the German reunification model is considered a success that has improved the lives and freedoms of the German citizens greatly. For this reason, reunification on the terms of the South has become a popular aspiration in order to increase the living standards on the Korean peninsula. At first glance, the two contexts seem to be quite similar. One country divided by a war into two competing systems, with an economic miracle on one side and a struggling economy on the other. Furthermore, in the DPRK, various human rights violations significantly impact the quality of life of its population. Since those violations directly result from state action, they cannot be fought in the conditions of total isolation of the DPRK. Therefore, a democratization of the North appears to be an effective means of combating these grievances. Other benefits that are expected to follow a successful reunification are the improvement of living standards in terms of economic capacities, as well as the spread of a new democratic culture that encourages people to shape their own social and political reality. The German experience, however, also proves that these outcomes cannot be taken for granted. After more than 3 decades of efforts being poured into nationwide solidarity, the German reunification also reveals the challenges that can emerge in such a society. For instance, there are still considerable discrepancies in economic strength between East and West that create differing economic and social prospects. On top of this, democratic cultures vary vastly, with only 78% of East Germans considering democracy to be the best system, compared to 91% in the West, and 50% even claiming to be dissatisfied with democracy. Manifestations of this become apparent in the significantly diverging election results in East and West. In the East, right-wing populist movements like Pegida and parties like the AfD generally succeed with much greater ease and longevity. Despite the often assumed high levels of xenophobia in the East, this is first and foremost a telltale sign of protest. In 2019, 57% of East Germans felt like second-class citizens. These trends that have erupted in Germany are likely to be exacerbated in the Korean context due to specific historical and political factors like a civil war and a much longer period of isolation that has deepened the political, cultural, and economic divide. On top of that, hostility and provocations continue to become a phenomenon. As a result, convergence of the two systems may take an extremely long time, over the course of which dissatisfaction and resentment among the population could grow and severely impede the outcomes of reunification. Also, due to the history of grave human rights abuses and provocations of the DPRK, the relationship between North and South continues to be a tense one. Having borne witness to the German experience, I want to highlight several issues that lie at the root of the challenges society is faced with. Reunification is not solely a matter of economy or law. One of the most essential dimensions on which to evaluate the success of reunification is the people. Internal unity can only be realized through efforts of talking and listening, entering a dialogue, and preventing discrimination and devaluation of people by repeatedly checking in on what attitudes underlie the discourse around what it means to be unified. How do we negotiate the relationship between two estranged groups in the conditions of noticeable power imbalances? If reunification is considered to be an assimilation of one system into the other, it is especially the resentment and insecurity bred from deep disorientation that requires not only professional and economic reorientation, but also psychological one in terms of identity, society, and civic culture. On the side of the economically and culturally dominant party, deep-seated attitudes towards the people just now coming to terms with the profound changes influence the discourse and thereby the degree of perceived alienation that tears at the fabric of reunification. Resulting resentment and political protest or apathy can increase international tension and polarization. Another important prerequisite for this open-minded dialogue to happen is taking accountability. Especially due to the past human rights abuses and political tensions between North and South, issues of national reconciliation, transitional and retributive justice must be addressed extensively. Speaking from the perspective of someone who has been subjected to the discourse on the people in East and West Germany all their life, I feel confident in saying that reunification generally can lead to increased living standards by converging two systems. In 2016, average life satisfaction in East and West was higher than ever before. However, internal unity and satisfaction with the political system and a shared national identity will continue to be contested if people do not feel acknowledged or like they're being left behind. For Korea too, this means creating space and the capacity for psychological adaptation, mutual learning, and non-discriminatory interaction between all parties involved. Those efforts are essential factors for creating a common identity and culture to truly reap the benefits of reunification. To top it off, collectively coming to terms with the past and celebrating democracy also requires acts of reconciliation and retributive justice that in turn facilitate this open and benevolent dialogue under the common goal to be better as one. Thank you.